Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. The hardest lesson for any business to know is when to fire a customer. You absolutely did the right thing, OP. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Yes, sir, we do expect payment up front. A little background info. I live in a popular tropical tourist destination, and one of my jobs is as crew on a snorkel boat. I set up the boat before the trip, lifeguard, give history about the area, etc. My captain's also the owner of the business, so what he says goes and knows the local waters like the back of his hand. Our company consists of him, me, and his girlfriend who manages bookings, phones, emails. We aren't low quality, but we don't offer full meals or entertainment on board and focus solely on the snorkel experience. Because of that, compared to the larger boats, our private charters are lower cost than most competition. In turn, we often get penny pincher people. Onward to the main story. A family of 22 had been hounding our office before they even arrived to our location. Our office's words. They were pushy and trying to get discounts and free upgrades, so I was already dreading this charter. Generally, we take a card number and charge it before the charter, but this group was adamant about paying cash. Office and captain said fine, but told me to get payment before getting them on the boat. Our boat is 50 feet long and stays moored offshore a few hundred yards, so we use a water taxi to ferry from the shore to boat. I got dropped off to get payment, check the group in, and give them pre-boarding info. I walked up to the main guy paying for everything to start the process, and that's when things went downhill. Me equals me, G equals guy. G. Hello, which boat are we going on? Me points to our boat, that pretty one right there. G. That's not the boat we're going on. Me. Yes, it is. There isn't any other boat, sir. G. No, the boat looks like this. Shows me a photo of boat from our website. Me. Yes, sir, that's the same boat. We just had the bottom and paint replaced a month ago. I guess our office hasn't updated our website. Sorry about the confusion, but I assure you it's the exact same boat. G. Well, I don't think you're trying to deceive me, but then why would they send me that photo? Me. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what to tell you. It's the same boat. G. Well, I think we need to go out and inspect it and look at it before we decide to go and pay for it. Me. I'm sorry, sir, that's not how this works. We've already set up the boat for the charter and blocked any other bookings to accommodate your private charter. You can pay and we can take your family out for their excursion, or you can decide not to go. We haven't received payment from you, so we have no obligation to you and no money to return. What would you like to do? G. Then we don't want to go on the boat. Me. Okay, sir, sorry it didn't work out. You and your family have a good day. I picked up my stuff, turned around, got in the water taxi, and left them on the shore. As we rode away, I could see the guy already on the phone trying to call the office. I called his bluff, and he was panicking because his whole family just heard him say they didn't want to go, even though a lot did. Got back to the boat and explained to Cap what happened. He said it sounds like he doesn't want them on his boat anyway, and they're lost. We'd planned to refuel after their trip, but decided to do it now since we now had the morning open. They were still on the shore when we left, but were gone when we got back. Once back on shore, the other guys who run activities in the same area told us the group had hung around for about an hour. I guess the guy was very convinced we'd come crawling back, but when we didn't, the family started fighting since many had still wanted to go. Now they have to try and find another boat that has 22 spaces open and will most likely cost 2 to 3 times more than us. It was totally waking up early without pay. And our second story. Wax on, wax off. I used to be a human resources specialist in the Army. At the time of this story, I was about 19. I generally did my job well and passed my fitness exams with flying colors, but I was very socially awkward back then. If there was a joke being made, I was the butt of it. I was basically Radar from MASH, but less endearing and no ESP. I was also frequently on extra duty. Extra duty basically extends your workday several hours past when everyone else goes home. It was a punishment for constantly being late, which was a statement I was making because the office clock was 5 minutes fast and nobody cared enough to have it fixed. They never fixed it. I even got in trouble for being 5 minutes early because 5 minutes early is 10 minutes late. During extra duty, I was given many meaningful tasks like scrubbing and power washing concrete for no reason, painting entire offices for no reason, picking up pine cones for no reason, sweeping the parking lot for no reason, and my most hated chore of all, buffing. Every night, I buffed the same floor. Every night, I applied several coats of finish to the same floor. I applied over 20 gallons of floor finish to that cerulean kitchen-sized tile floor in just a 2-month span. And it was never good enough. Every morning, my company first sergeant would come in and say the same thing. "What the hell have you been doing all night, OP? If I can't see my reflection, it's not good enough. Should be like looking in a mirror." Bear in mind, I had no clue what I was doing, and they didn't really give me any detailed instructions. I had no idea which buffer pads to use, how much finish to use, how many coats were needed, etc. One night, I was approaching my breaking point because I just stripped the floor for the first time the previous night and nearly passed out when he decided to throw me yet another curveball. "You ever waxed the floor before, OP?" He hands me a can of wax. "No, First Sergeant, I haven't." He takes the can back, opens it, then scoops out a small amount with a rag, proceeding to spread it over a tile in a circular motion by hand until it disappears. I did not make a Karate Kid joke at the time. I was too busy explaining that I didn't have enough time to do the entire process, plus tile by tile waxing before the night was over. He didn't care. I got the usual response to my protests. "Get it done. You want me to fully buff, finish, and wax a floor in roughly the same amount of time it takes me just to buff it? And with no prior experience or instruction? Okay." I didn't bother asking how much wax to use or how many times I should go over each tile. I didn't want to know. At that point, I didn't care. What I did know was that skaters often waxed curbs in my hometown to allow the skateboard to slide on it, also known as grinding. I sped through my usual buffing and didn't even bother with more than one coat of finish. I then broke out the wax can and rag and began my new task. I waxed that floor. Then I waxed it some more. I waxed that floor until my arms ached, and I waxed unevenly. Some areas got way more wax than others. 2100, 9 p.m., rolls around, and my sergeant comes and locks up so I can leave. The next morning, I came in after our usual morning fitness routine and sat down at my desk, which happened to directly face the doorway to the floor I regularly slaved over. I could see a small portion of the room, but was not exposed enough for people to see me. I should mention that this floor was in the center of the building. If you wanted to get into any of the offices in the company headquarters, including my first sergeant's office and even my own, you had to walk through that central room. As it turned out, quite a few people needed to walk through that room on this particular morning, and they were met by some rather challenging terrain. It was quite comical to see people in combat boots slipping all over the place like they were walking on ice, then gingerly trying to walk across like they needed walkers. But the best part was when I heard the frantic squeaking of boots followed by a "Damn it, OP, never let him wax the floor again." And that's exactly what happened. Never did get feedback on the reflection, though. No fellow soldiers were injured as a result of this. And our last story. The HOA is expanding and flooding houses. An HOA is expanding, putting in 50 more houses across the street from me. I should say across from the 60 acres I own. It's zoned for farmland, but since there's a pre-existing cabin, I can put a new home on it. The owner already approached me and asked me to remove a split rail fence that's 100 years old. I could see him asking if it was falling apart or looks bad. Stepson and I planted honeysuckle at every post, so there's about 600 feet of bushes. Friends drive by to stop and smell it. 20 plus different types of trees. Some wetlands with frogs and salamanders, and he asked me to bulldoze it all and add to the hayfields. No. I can cause a lot of problems for you once we start working. Sewer, water, electric will all be off a while, which made me laugh. On two sides of my property is city land, mine in the county. The road that separates us is in the county. The city owns the other road. He's in the city. I'm not. No, I don't think so. The lines that separate us are sidelines. Maine is on the city right-of-way, and I'm at the end of the line. This could get interesting. He started bulldozer work yesterday. One thing he has not taken into consideration is we live under two different sets of rules, city and county. They'll have a noise ordinance, 10 o'clock, and they crack down on it. No such ordinance in the county. Don't fire a gun across the street from me. You'll go to jail for discharging a weapon in the city limits. On my side of the road, theoretically, I could shoot all night or hook up the Marshall amps and speakers and invite people over to play into the wee hours. Construction has begun closer to the original development than my land, but a new sewer line had to go in across the road. They dug it out quickly, almost 300 yards to the paved road and main line. Then they left for a week, and it rained. A lot. So much the ditch, which ran downhill, took 70% of the water drainage from the top. Maybe close to a square mile, which usually flows 4 directions, flowed in 1. Normally, it flows into a series of natural creeks, which eventually lead to the river, runoff. As I said, a lot of rain, 3+ inches in 30 hours. Somehow, they diverted the natural flow and not only flooded 8 to 10 homes at the bottom, it partially washed out beneath the road, making it 1 lane for 100 feet until repairs. It's a mess, but both the contractor and the owner took blame under fixing it. I don't know about the homes, though. I've heard rumors of lawsuits. They did the sewer line in 1 day. LOL. It's covered and marked. Road should be repaired next week. I was told once it's finished and hooked into the city's main, the city's being given the line so they can maintain it and collect a higher fee. Best part of that is I can tap into it for free. Almost free. A licensed contractor has to connect the tap. It'd be good for me. Right now, my cabin's tapped into an old 60-year-old line. I do have a septic tank as well. I have to dig it out and buy the pipe, of course, but a friend with a backhoe and some good beer, then that's done in a day. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.